Good Monday morning. Happy Labor Day. Jazz Roganzo. Another What's Next. We had a blockbuster, a massive seismic earthquake over the weekend of epic proportions and a complete triumph. These are all terms that have been used regarding Shang Chi. Let's take a look. We're going to move on to Breitbart's. Shang-Chi's $71.4 million debut blasts Labor Day records despite the COOF. On what's traditionally one of the sleepiest weekends at the movies, Marvel's film Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets smashed the record for Labor Day openings with an estimated 71.4 million in ticket sales, giving the box office reeling from its recent COOF surge. Not really. A huge lift heading into the fall season. Just to add, the previous record holder, Halloween 2017. So you probably could have had SpongeBob would have broken Labor Day records. Just saying. No offense to Shang-Chi. Friday, Sunday, the gross for Shang-Chi of the Legend of the Ten Bracelets, Marvel's first film led by its first Asian superhero. I got some news for that one. Ranks as one of the best debuts of the pandemic, trailing only previous Marvel film Black Widow. See week 1, great numbers. Week 2, dropped like a bomb. And Universal Pictures F9, 70 million in June. Overseas, it pulled 56.2 for a global 3-day haul of 127.6. Disney anticipates Shang-Chi made for about 150. Will add 12.1 on Monday. So all that. This comes out of Screen Rant. Shang-Chi's China backlash explained why Marvel can't release the movie yet. I don't see it releasing it at all, to be honest with you, unless it's forced to. Marvel Studios is having trouble securing an official release date for Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Bracelets in China for several reasons. Marvel Studios is facing multiple issues securing a release date for Shang-Chi and the Legend of the Ten Bracelets in China. Some of these problems relate to the history of the character, tied to racist stereotypes about Chinese people and Western culture. Other problems are tied to upcoming Marvel Studios productions and comments by creators that are viewed unfavorably by the Chinese government. You know, the same wonderful government that locks people away for political dissent and Christianity. The character of Shang-Chi first appeared in 1973 and was created to capitalize upon the growing popularity of martial arts movies in the United States. The early Shang-Chi comics were based around the worst cliches of the genre, and the artwork depicted his main character with bright gold skin. Thankfully, later stories made the character less stereotypical, and the artwork improved considerably. Nevertheless, many still see Shang-Chi as a symbol of the American exploitation of Chinese culture. While Marvel Studios has claimed that Shang-Chi movie was made with the foremost respect for Chinese culture, some are skeptical. There are those who would argue that the character's origins taint him in a way that no amount of revision can ever salvage. That means that the Chinese audiences may avoid the fall 21 movies if their government allows them to. Let me jump to this. Marvel's first Asian superhero gets the full blockbuster treatment in Shang-Chi. The best moments of Shang-Chi and Legend of the Ten Bracelets are the ones where you almost forget that you're watching a Marvel movie. Some of the hallmarks are still there. Comic banter, high-flying action. Not from what I've heard. The passing references to other characters, barely, and the events in the Marvel Universe, yeah, that's even worse. But the movie doesn't get bogged down in series minutiae. It takes place some time after the last 2 Avengers movies, supposedly 5 years. You know, when half the world was wiped out and they're brought back, was only referenced to 30 seconds in the film, and several fan favorites said goodbye. But you don't need to know or care about any of that. Yeah, because who cares about background story to enjoy this mostly standalone story, which brings us into new dramatic terrain. Now, I'm going to jump into, and the reason why I talk about that is because the so-called, the first, there's always got to be a first. You know, Black Panther was the first. Not really, it was Blade. This falls into the same trap. The left-wing media will tell you, this is the first, this is a triumph, this, and this. Well, completely forgetting movies that it came prior to that. And to me, the one movie that stands out that came prior to that is, boom, this man right here. The late Brandon Lee, son of the icon himself, Bruce Lee, martial arts legend, and of course, where all martial art movies and basically fighting movies have to look up to. This movie in particular, The Crow, 1994. And speaking of 1994, let's take a trip in the way back. Let's go by the numbers. The Crow in 1994 made $51.092 million. In 94, that was huge. That was big time money to be making from an independent comic character that was not Marvel related, that was not DC related. So that's huge. And once again, other movies, if the MCU doesn't do it, if the MCU doesn't do it, then it doesn't count. A number of those on podcasts have already said that the MCU is not canon. One particular, Young Ripper, aka Eric July, they make it very clear that the MCU is its own canon. It has nothing to do with Marvel Comics. Yes, it pulls from Marvel Comics. It pulls characters. It pulls a little bit of storyline. It pulls a little bit of the Flash. It pulls a little bit of the oomph. But when it comes to its movies, when it comes to the MCU has basically decided, well, we are going to do our own canon. We are going to do our own wokeness. Now, from everything that I've heard, like I said, I have not seen this movie. Everything that I've heard about this, it's not woke. It's bland. It's boring. It's meh. That's what it comes down to. And turns out that Shang Chi really doesn't do all that much in the movie. Turns out his sister's the star of the movie. Shh. It's a spoiler alert if anybody's interested. But will I be one to go to the movies and see this? No. I didn't do it with Black Widow. To me, Black Widow was I eventually did see Black Widow. And I said, great entertainment value. It was very, very good. Storyline was meh. Now, will I see Shang-Chi? Probably later on when it floats elsewhere. But yeah, won't go to the theaters to see this. To me, the only movie that's probably going to pull me out of the theaters would probably be Spider-Man's No Way Home. That would probably be the movie that's going to pull me out to go to the theaters. But we'll see about that. But in the end, for those, once again, to forget its history, to forget other movies led by Asian stars. Like I said, Brandon Lee. Prior to that, Bruce Lee. Like I said, Bruce Lee is the pedestal. Bruce Lee, all other movies will be judged by because of Bruce Lee. And Bruce Lee yet, still 40 plus years later, almost 50 years later, he's still the icon. All MMA related movies, from, even from this movie to John Wick, they will all be judged by, and rightly so. So in the end, is it something that's going to draw people out? Yes, it's going to draw a lot of those Asian descent. It's going to draw them out. It just is. Those who don't care about canon, yes, it's going to draw some of those out. For those of us who believe in canon, for those of us who actually believe that comics do matter, and comic canon matters, probably won't see this film at the theater. They'll wait till it, like I said, it floats by them. Yeah, it's pretty much it. And with that being said, I'm Jazz Borgonzo. This is What's Next. Want to see more just like this? Please leave a comment below, like it, share it, subscribe to it, hit the notification bell so you don't miss a thing. And we'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.